So this is a bit more detail on the Appleton fault zone with more of the gold occurrences that we see along that Appleton fault zone. And this is why we really believe that it is such a productive structure that is bringing all this gold up to the surface. And we can see going down from the southwest to the northeast, we have Knob, Keats, Golden Joint, Dome, and Lotto. Keats, Golden Joint, and Lotto are the ones that Newfound has been talking about the most. Big Dave is right up here near the property boundary. Golden Glove, where we're currently drilling, is up here on the northern side of that property boundary. And Big Vein, of course, is where we've been drilling for some time. The pristine target, which actually isn't on here, it would be just up around here, about 800 meters northeast of Big Vein. And then Midway is off the Appleton fault zone, and it is, as I mentioned, a totally separate gold, maybe not a separate gold system, but a separate trend and a separate environment.
Roger, we had a quick question that came in regarding the other, is it fault there, the Dog Bay line? Is that a fault zone similar to the Appleton fault, or why is that being highlighted as well?
Yeah, it's another major fault that's going through Newfoundland. In fact, it's probably a larger fault than the Appleton fault zone in terms of the tectonic history.
Okay, thanks.
This is so you've heard me talk about structures a lot, and many people will be talking about structures in these kinds of gold environments. And this is why they're important. When we get gold into solution down here at the source of the mineralization, we need to get it up to the near surface where it can be precipitated out. And the way that those solutions move is through these structures. And these are the major structures that bring up these fluids from deep in the Earth's crust and bring it up towards surface. And when it gets up here, it generally will seek out second and third order structures along which that gold those gold bearing solutions can travel until they get to the site of their final precipitation, which can be chemical or physically induced or a combination of both. And the way I look at this, it's kind of like if you're driving a car along a highway and you're heading home, you come off the highway, you come off the off ramp, and you get onto a main road in the city or the town, and then as you move along that road, you'll make a few turns, and eventually you'll get to the street that your house is on. And when you get to that house, you park your car in the garage, and there you go. That's exactly what happens to the gold. And imagine it going through all these routes and avenues to get to its final destination. Now, this is a slide that I haven't shown before, and I was just thinking about it over the weekend. And so what I've done here, Golden Glove, Big Vein, and Pristine and the Appleton fault zone are just as they were on the slide a few slides back. So that's exact. That's to scale. It's just as it occurs in the field. But what I've done with the Newfound gold occurrences is I've flipped them 180 degrees. And so Big Dave now lines up with Golden Glove, and Keats lines up pretty much with Pristine. And so it's still exactly the same scale. I've just flipped them 180 degrees. And what that shows is that it is eerily similar strike length between Golden Glove and Pristine and Big Dave and Keats. They're both about 4.6 kilometers. The other thing that it shows is that obviously down at Queensway, Newfound Gold have been working there for longer than us, and they've got more occurrences that they've found along the Appleton fault zone. So my idea is that if this Appleton fault zone is as prospective and productive as it appears to be, then we should be able to find more of these gold occurrences along that fault zone say, between Pristine and Golden Glove. And I think we have a very good case to make for that if we look at this next slide. And again, you'll probably need to zoom in on this slide later, but this is now putting them back in their proper positions. And you can see Golden Glove down here, and all of these different symbols represent areas where we have gold anomalies, either in soil, which are the circles, in rock, in the triangles. We have gold in tills. We have gold even in stream sediments from streams. We have some very good gold. So this area, if we think just about the area between Pristine and Golden Glove, we already have many anomalies that we're following up this field season to generate drill targets along that trend. So I'm very encouraged that we seem to be having a very similar what you would call periodicity between these different occurrences at Kingsway, as Newfound Gold seems to have down at Queensway. Now, obviously, we have a lot more work to do to show that we have the same kind of occurrences that they have down at Queensway, but I think we're off to a good start.
Roger, can we just spend a little bit of time on that last map and even the one before where you flip the targets around? Yep. A lot of people, and we've addressed this question a few times, debate whether drilling east or west of the Appleton fault zone is where the highest grade is going to be because of where Big Vein is situated to the west, I believe, of the Appleton fault zone. A lot of the drilling that that Newfound has done has been on the eastern side of the Appleton fault zone. Do you have any more insights in terms of what is more attractive, west or east of that fault zone?
Well, I mean, clearly, based on the evidence to date, Newfound Gold have had longer intersections of higher grade than we have had at Big Vein on the west side of the fault. So, in just in terms of that particular history, if you like, then you would have to conclude that the east side of the fault is better. I don't think that Newfound Gold have spent a lot of time drilling on the west side of the fault. They have recently announced that they were getting some more hits on the west side, and we'll have to see how that comes along. But certainly, even though we've had the high grades at Big Vein, we haven't been able to see we haven't yet seen the long intersection of those high grades that Newfound have down in the south.
But it is similar type of geology, right? Very
similar. Yeah. It's basically we're looking at a stratigraphic package of basically sediments. We've got coarser grain sediments like sandstone, siltstones, going all the way down to shales, and there is some indication that some of the coarser grained sediments, the sandstones and siltstones, are more closely related to the gold mineralization. But as to whether east or west, it's clearly they're finding long intersections of high grade on the east. So you can't say that no, that's not that doesn't mean anything. Of course it does. And until we or Newfound find those similar intersections on the west side, then the east side may be more prospective.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Did you have any questions about this slide as well?
No, not so much. There is one that just came up that is kind of related to this. That is there a trend or something like that would show you where a mother source would be, or more dispersed along and out from the fault itself? So I guess any other data that you can tell us of where this gold might be coming from, where it's going?
No, we're still working on that. I think the key again with this system along the Appleton fault zone is the Appleton fault. It's all about structure, and based on our information, and I think certainly the information that I've read of newfound golds, it's where you have structures that intersect the Appleton fault zone. That seems to be a key area for targeting, because as I mentioned earlier, the Appleton fault zone is a deep structure. It can bring up these fluids from deep in the crust, but then they usually tend to move out along splays of that fault, as is the case in most orogenic style deposits. So we have intersections of structures with the Appleton fault, and prospecting out along those splays is probably the best way to explore these systems.